Hello, welcome. Now, the next learning objective that we want to talk about is called risk. And risk is really all about the whole rationale for insurance, in that risk is defined as the uncertainty of a future event. And we need uncertainty about future events for the insurance scenario to work, because if you were insuring certain events, then the insurance company would not be motivated to insure you, because they realized they could not make a profit when the event was certain or predetermined. And from the standpoint of the insured, only persons who knew they were going to have losses would even buy insurance, which would drive the price up. And so we need the uncertainty of future events as a part of the scenario that defines an insurable risk. And if you have the prospect of a fire or a windstorm or death or a medical incident, if that uncertainty is out there and you realize that the cost of paying for that loss is too high, then you, the consumer, would be motivated to buy the insurance product as long as it was reasonably priced and as long as the coverage was reasonably liberal in the benefits that it provided. So the definition here of the learning objective risk is the uncertainty of a future event that is possible, probable, in some respects even likely, or in the case of death as an example, death is certain to us all, but the time of death, it is what is unknown or uncertain. So there's a degree of uncertainty based on a given point in time, and it could be that the event may never happen. So this is the definition of risk. I want to include in this particular discussion the definition of pure risk and speculative risk, which are the two types of risk that we deal with in an insurance discussion. Pure risk is an event only involving a negative or a loss proposition. So if you have a pure risk scenario, that means that you can only lose. Example, if someone steals your car, are they likely to leave a more valuable car in its place? In other words, is it possible you might benefit from a stolen car? And the answer is no. It only suggests or implies a negative outcome, which is a pure risk scenario. Now, with insurance, we only insure pure risk situations. If you have the prospect for gain, then it would not be an insurable risk. Let me give you an example. If you have an investment, albeit real estate or an equity financial investment, you have the proposition inherent in that investment that the investment could rise in value or could drop, which means you could gain or you could lose. So speculative risk cannot be guaranteed or insured is another way of saying it, because if you are insuring a speculative risk, then heads you win, tails you win, because you would not lose anything by putting your money at risk. Your investment could go up, but if it didn't go up, if it went down, then you'd be insuring against the loss, which is necessary as a counter position to the upside that risk brings us. If we invest, put something at risk, we're doing so for a gain. We have to also be willing to suffer that loss, and that's why we cannot insure speculative risk for the loss side. And people just have to take their lumps when they are putting money at risk in a speculative scenario. Now, obviously, we've kind of discussed why you need pure risk, because we cannot have the predetermined event knowing that it's going to happen, because then that would not be insurable. People wouldn't buy insurance when they knew they wouldn't have the risk turn into a loss, and people would only buy it when they knew that that risk was certain. So we need this pure risk uncertainty of a loss only scenario for insurance to work, and then we need everyone motivated to protect against those financial losses to insure under the policy. And so this is the rationale for risk, and it's the rationale for pure risk rather than a speculative risk, which again we cannot insure.